Hi, this is Darryn Farrugia. What I'm going to be talking about today is just basic bass drum technique. The first thing I'm going to say about the bass drum technique is that I think in today's music, and certainly in music since the 60s, let's say, you know, the role of the bass drum has become a very integral part of the foundation of any groove. So I think it's really important to develop a very strong and very consistent sounding bass drum technique. I'm going to start by talking about the very first bass drum technique that was probably in existence, and that is the flat foot technique. I think if you saw a bass drum pedal and you were sitting on a drum stool and you put your foot on it, you would naturally put your foot flat on the pedal. And that's pretty much what I'm going to demonstrate first. It's a really simple technique. Just put your foot on the pedal, press down, and that's it. That's really all there is to it. The idea is also to allow the beater to come off the head. And a lot of the jazz drummers, from the invention of the bass drum pedal through to this present day, play a lot of heel down technique. And because a lot of the bass drums that are tuned, say for example in the jazz style, are tuned higher and may not necessarily have a hole cut in the front head, you then need to allow the beater to come off the head so that the drum can A, resonate, and B, so that you don't get that effect of the beater fluttering against the head of the bass drum. So the bass drum technique, this first technique, is flat foot. So it's a good technique because it allows you to play at soft volumes with, you know, very little effort, no loss of balance. But some of the disadvantages of it are that if you try to play fast or loud, you can really feel those muscles in the front of your where your shin is really tighten up, and that can be quite uncomfortable. So as volumes got louder and as music got faster and heavier and drummers had to compete with amplification, we needed to develop a technique that allowed for more volume, and that is the heel up technique. So I'm going to break this into two parts. The first part of the heel up technique is what we call a leg stroke, and that is when you're using the entire weight of your leg to give momentum to the pedal. So in order to demonstrate that, the way we do this, remember this is a heel up technique, the first movement that we make is to lift the heel. Okay, so we lift the heel and then we allow the beater back and then back down onto the head. That's it. Now, one of the things you're noticing when I'm doing this is that as I play the stroke, I'm allowing the heel to come down and make contact with the heel plate. And that is because it allows the beater to come back off the head. So that's allowing the beater to stay in the head. It chokes up the sound, it makes the note a bit shorter. And then the other example is to allow the beater to come off the head by dropping the heel. So that's the leg stroke. Now the leg stroke is a stroke that you would use when you're playing notes that are not so close together. So here's an example. I'll give you some quarter notes and then eighth notes using the leg stroke. Okay, so they're all leg strokes. Now if I wanted to play strokes that were much closer together, 2/16 notes for example, I would have to incorporate what's known as a foot stroke. And basically what that is that as I'm preparing to play a leg stroke, so as the heel is coming up to play a leg stroke, I'm actually stealing a stroke in there with my foot. So I'm just going to isolate that position where the heel is up in preparation for a leg stroke, and then I'm just going to play a stroke with the foot. So in this instance, I am using those muscles at the front of my shin again. So in tandem, I'm going to play a foot stroke and then a leg stroke. Here we go. So you can see that the foot stroke is actually part of the leg stroke movement. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play a groove for you, and it will incorporate some singles on the bass drum and then some doubles, so that you get a sense of the leg strokes being used on their own, and then the foot and leg combinations when I'm playing doubles.